Hi all, Adi here from Hunts and Johns. As always, thank you so much for clicking on the video. I'm in deepest, darkest Surrey, Sussex. I'm right on the border. I'm in a village called Charwood, and I'm doing another video from here about some of the interesting things that are around. But this one is going to be about St Nicholas Church. It's a beautiful church. It's really big considering how small the village is. Got a really interesting history. It's also got wall paintings of national significance. Really old. Just see, speaking of old things, look, the old barn behind me. St Nicholas Church in Charlwood was built around 1080, and that was only 14 years after the Battle of Hastings and before most of the cathedrals in England. The porch was built originally in approximately the 1400s, and you can see either side of the doors here some curved marks, and they would have been where the local men would have sharpened their scythes before they were cutting the grass in the churchyard. Now on the right here we're going to see a stoop, and that stoop was broken in about 1550 during the Protestant Reformation. The main wooden door of the church also dates remarkably from 1280, which is unbelievable, isn't it? And what a remarkable piece of wood to have lasted over 700 years. And even the iron hinges, that upper one, has been dated, and it was made from local iron. And we're going to head into the oldest part of the church here, and over to the left there you can see an old Norman window. So you can see in front of me here the two Norman arches, and above which is what is now the bell tower, but that little window gives an indication that there may have been a room up there where the priest would have lived. But nowadays that room up the top is used for ringing the bells. And this is what they call a monument chest, and it's a feature of the church which has existed since Tudor times. It's not known now if this dates from 1538, when Thomas Cromwell ordered all parishes to keep a secure coffer as a repository for the register of all weddings, baptisms or deaths, or if the chest comes from 1595, which is when the existing Charwood register begins. So all the registers and the church's valuables would have been kept inside here. And this piscina over on the walls indicates that this is where the altar originally would have been. Now before I show you the wall paintings, I thought I would show you this. So this is by art historian Anne Worrell, and she did it on very detailed research, and it's a recreation of the picture of what the murals would have looked like when they were first painted 700 years ago, and this hangs at the back of the church. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of these paintings, and then if you are really interested you can pause it and do your own research, because it's a lot to unpack in one video. Now the wall paintings on the south wall date from about 1300 to 1350, and they are among the finest wall paintings in Britain. In fact, they're even older than the earliest English painting in the National Gallery, and they're unusual because they're telling graphic short stories rather than scenes from the Bible or the Last Judgment. And it should always be remembered that in medieval times these paintings would have not been for artistic decorations, but they were objects of reverence, adoration and prayer, because most people were illiterate back then, so these pictures helped them understand the Bible a little bit more. So a careful comparison of the costumes has revealed that they were in fact all painted around the same time, around 1300, but they were probably painted by different artists. And then in the Reformation around 1550, they would have been covered in whitewash, because the Protestants did not approve of painting statues on coloured glass, and the wall paintings were rediscovered in 1858. A travelling painter, it might even been somebody who trained in a monastery, would have been hired to decorate the freshly plastered walls, and in the bag they would have had brushes, pigments, but also scrolls of illustrations for potential paintings. But once the subject was chosen, like why did Charwood choose this, we'll probably never know, they would set out and paint it. The survival is probably due to the lines having been drawn using pigmented string held taut against the fresh plaster and onto a prepared layer of lime wash, and the painter would have sketched out the main lines in red ochre and then filled them all in. But they're absolutely beautiful to see in person. And this aisle would have been added in 1280, probably by the de Gatwick family. And this beautiful Rood screen, isn't it absolutely stunning? And it's quite a sizable piece actually, and it's supposed to be one of the only pieces of medieval wood carving still in Surrey. And the initials say RS in it, so it may be a surround of the tomb of a local family called the Saunders. And Richard Saunders actually died in 1480. And that may have been the surround to his tomb. And the reredos here is absolutely beautiful, and that's quite recent actually, 1935. And that takes us on to the helmet. Now this helmet belonged to Sir Nicholas Saunders, who actually died in 1553, and the helmet probably was used for his coffin at his funeral service, and it actually hung on the wall behind the altar for hundreds of years, but it got stolen in 1975. But after a very long search it was recovered, and it is now safely in Guildford Museum. Well, the original one that's just the replica, and this is the Saunders brass, and this commemorates the family, the Saunders family, who are very important locally. And the font in here was very plain. Quite surprising actually for such a large church. I couldn't find a date on it, and I'm just making a small contribution to the church. If you do want to help support me, as I always make a contribution to these buildings when I visit, you can do so by using the Buy Me a Coffee link below, or if there is one where you can donate directly to the church, then I shall include that in the description below. I'm just going to take a walk through the graveyard, but I thought I'd show you this beautiful yew tree. It was dated in 1980 by a national tree expert as about 1,000 years old. But sadly, as you can see, in 2010 it was set alight. It was probably by some youth smoking cigarettes, but half of it is still thriving. And you can still see all the blackened bit here where it was set alight, but it's still alive, it's still thriving. Just thought I'd pop in and show you the girth, just how big it is, and obviously I had to give it a hug, soak up some of that ancient energy. Beautiful. and I just had a walk round the churchyard and had a look at some of the tombs. As always, some of them were unreadable. This one was from 1839. And I found some quite interesting carvings on these ones. Now I do have a book, The Meanings of Common Cemetery Symbols, but unfortunately I couldn't actually find any of the ones that are on this tomb over here. I've seen the skull and crossbones, but not quite like this. And I know the torch facing downwards means a life extinguished, but if anyone that's watching, if you know what all these things mean, then please do let me know in the comments. So I did try and find out, and I have got a book, but I couldn't find anything. This one was interesting. It's like a skull with laurels on its head. Not quite sure. And then there was the timer. That's a snake going round, isn't it? So that means your time's out, but that's the circle of life, isn't it? Rebirth. An angel under there. Yes, some very old ones. One thing that I noticed walking through the church, walking up to the church and walking through here, was this stone path. And I did a bit of research and I found out that it's supposed to have been made of Charwood stone, and it was probably laid at some time when the stone quarries were open, so approximately 1660s. Now, this is a house from 1402. And it's said to be haunted by the ghost of a lady who only appears to children. I'm going to wrap the video up now. Thank you so much for watching. Lovely little church. It's such a shame because villages like this, especially this one, is really under threat because of its proximity to Gatwick. And if that expands, I don't know what would happen, because there's loads of really old, like grade 1 listed buildings around here, so who knows. Anyway, I know that's progress and all that, but thank you so much for watching. Sorry, I keep looking down because it's really icy. Don't want to fall over. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy today's video, please do like and subscribe, and I shall see you for the next one.